Montgomery, indeed, happening right now. It's primary election day, and right now the voters across Indiana and Michigan have some pretty big decisions to make. In South Bend, voters must decide if they'll allow the current mayor to pursue a second term this fall or give somebody else the chance to run for that position. Incumbent Mayor Pete Buttigieg and City Council member Henry Davis Jr. are vying for the Democrat nomination. Buttigieg wants a second term in office while he's facing off against that gentleman, Councilman Henry Davis Jr. Davis has served the 2nd District for 7 years. This is his first time running for mayor. Today's winner will move on to the November general election against uncontested Republican Kelly Jones. Now, another big race we're keeping an eye on today is the South Bend City Clerk's race. Derek Dieter and Karima Fowler are going for the Democratic nomination for this position. It's one of the most controversial races appearing on today's ballot. You might remember last week, Dieter accused Fowler and Mayor Pete Buttigieg of breaking the law by appearing in a campaign ad together, claiming they didn't file the correct paperwork. Buttigieg officially endorsed Fowler last month. Well, Dieter has asked the St. Joseph County Election Board to investigate. Then last week, the South Bend Tribune reported Dieter is facing his own controversy involving questions surrounding the source of an $18,000 donation to his campaign. Now, party leaders are not going to make any predictions when it comes to the race for mayor or even clerk. That's because these positions could be determined not just by how many people vote, but by who is showing up to vote. WSBT-22's Kristen Bean is now live at this midday. And Kristen, the candidates for campaign, they're really watching this voter turnout issue very carefully.
Yeah, they know they can't take anything for granted. You know, primary elections often mean fewer voters, which is why candidates are hoping their supporters get out to vote, because it doesn't take that many votes to sway an election either way. Now, I talked about this with the head of the St. Joe County Democratic Party. He says typically low voter turnout tends to favor an incumbent because of the name recognition. But in the case of the South Bend mayor's race, it could go either way. He says that's because Henry Davis Jr. supporters are definitely expected to vote. So if Buttigieg supporters think the current mayor will be a shoo-in and they'll stay home, and the mayor could lose. When I talked to Buttigieg this morning about this, he said low turnout elections are where strange things can happen to incumbents who don't do their homework. That's why both candidates for mayor are encouraging their supporters to vote.
My message to the people in South Bend is get out and vote today. You know, if these are the people that are going to win the general election, they're going to be determining who's picking up your trash, how your local taxes are being spent, how your roads are being fixed. These are the people that are going to be determining that for the next 4 years.
You got a tight shot of this? You don't have to. And here are the early voting numbers. You can see 2,100 people voted early in St. Joseph County. That's compared to about 2,500 in 2011. These, of course, are countywide numbers, but still an early indicator of what kind of turnout we may see today all over. And here, this polling place at Notre Dame, that's where I am this morning. They have, it looks like, 70 people who have voted, and half of those, they say, are absentee ballots. So poll workers say right now that is a pretty low number. So an early indication, it's noon, we're almost halfway through the day of what we're expecting throughout Election Day. Live here in South Bend, Kristen Bean, WSBT 22 News.
All right, Kristen, thank you very much. Now, in Elkhart, voters are also deciding who will make up the ticket for mayor this fall. Tim Neese and Dan Beecher are going after the Republican nomination. Neese is a former Elkhart City Council member and state representative. Beecher is a commissioner for the Elkhart Housing Authority and a former vice president of Downtown Elkhart Incorporated. Incumbent Mayor Dick Moore and Caleb Owens are seeking the Democratic nomination. Mayor Moore is going for a 3rd term. He's a former city streets commissioner and fire chief. Owens is seeking his first political office. He's a young man, a senior at Concord High School, a member of the Indiana National Guard, and a music minister at an Elkhart church. Now in Michigan, voters will be deciding if their taxes should go up to help repair the state's roads, bridges, and schools. Proposal 1 would raise the gas and sales taxes. The sales tax boost would be 1%. If passed, the additional tax money will give more than $1 billion per year to roads and about $200 million to schools. Now in Niles, voters are being asked to pass 2 school bond issues for a total of $40 million. The school district says it wants to improve 8 schools. The plans include consolidating James Ellis and Howard elementary schools into 1 school. Now, the power is back on this midday after a power outage this morning across 3 different counties. The Berrien County Elections Manager telling WSBT-22 generators were used this morning to keep the polls open in precincts 3 and 6 in Benton Township and precinct 1 in St. Joseph Township. Thousands of people lost power this morning across Berrien County in Michigan and in LaPorte and St. Joseph counties in Indiana. The majority of the outages were in Berrien County, though, and again, that power has been restored. Now, a reminder, the polls in Michigan are open until 8 tonight. In Indiana, they're open until 6. Make sure to stick with WSBT 22 throughout the day for your campaign 2015 coverage. Tonight, we will have the results on air and online. You can always check out WSBT.com anytime for full election previews, coverage, and, of course, those results. And WSBT 22 meteorologist Carrie Peugeot is alongside. And Carrie, weather oftentimes can play some factor in election days. How much so this day?
It's not snowing, right?
That's true.
So that should be good. We had most of the rain fall early this morning, at least the widespread rain. Now we still have rain